But LGD, they go Silencer. So Silencer, it wasn't enough for CDC in that game, but I still feel like I felt it had a presence in that early game. And it's an ex-Nova Silencer, potentially. And I think he's one of the best Silencer players.
And that just goes down to his positioning. I feel like he's one of the supports that is basically always in the right place at the right time. And a Silencer is probably one of the most important heroes to have that. I mean, probably the only other one would be a core sniper that you really need to have that understanding of how you need to give that teasing distance, basically, with some of these heroes. You know, invite them to come in and try and make the play onto you. And they've got a good amount of turnaround to try and make things go in their favor. So I'm liking the Silencer pick, but I don't know. It just feels like, what is it going to do into this Enigma and Phoenix, right? Like, we talked about the last word being good against Phoenix. I guess it's alright against the Void Spirit as well, just to give that little extra couple of seconds of lockdown that allows you to get the follow-up potential onto him. I don't know, I feel like they're suffering from the same thing as Aster, in that they didn't have that front liner, although Viper gets rid of a little bit of that concern.
Yeah, so they go Viper, which maybe even pushes more towards that 4 Void Spirit. With a mid Viper. Could even be safe lane Viper. I don't think it'll be SCCC on the Viper. It's not a hero that screams his style. Back to the Silencer. I mean, maybe it's enough control, like when you've got the Nyx Assassin who's going to spike Carapace, the Phoenix, and then you just silence him up. Like, I think maybe you've got an opportunity to make sure the Supernova never gets off. I don't know, like, that's a combo potentially, but that would be a, long cooldown combo just to make sure that Supernova doesn't go off. And now you've got an egg hitter in the Lycan.
You've got an egg hitter, but more importantly, you've got someone that can just kind of run over you to begin the game. Like, and Void Spirit, while he's elusive, there's an extent to that. It's not like, the Ember Spirit style where you can just get away from most things. You do have it in a relatively short range. You need to be able to take advantage of that 22 seconds of shapeshift, and I feel like it does enough to be able to lock down a lot of what they might be trying to go for, even into the Enigma. You just need to. You're probably going to die before you're able to get off the perfect black hole, and it does create that frontline space as well that you need to be able to have a bit more of that influence with the Silencer. So I'm liking the Lycan pick. The thing as well with Aster is, well, they might have thought that, well, this Viper was looking pretty decent in the last game. Maybe they were watching and taking notes from that, but they've only played it once on this entire patch, which feels like it's been going for months and months on end. So, granted, it was a win, but it was a long time ago, and I don't know, surely by this point, is it time to try and innovate, like reinvent the wheel, or do you just go with what's comfortable to you? I guess what other choices did they really have? I mean, the Dragon Knight's still in the pool, so I thought maybe that was the potential for being picked up. You don't mind running into the Queen of Pain as that, but then you run the risk that the Silencer just goes mid and you have a terrible time. So I can understand the justification for the Viper.
They can still do safe lane DK. China's been doing that a bit. I know they really liked it for a couple of weeks, about a month and a half ago. If they were to do that DK, but then that probably puts the Void Spirit 4, Phoenix 5, which still kind of seems like the case here with this lineup so far. And now they go Beastmaster, which is amazing here with the Lycan.
It's lasted all this time.
Beastmaster's been like a first phase ban for most of it, and now we see the Beastmaster be this last pick, where now you've got so much control. You're gonna get a Primal Roar that's probably followed up by an Impale, and I would say there's probably multiple silences coming out from LGD at some point during this game, because Queen of Pain, I'm assuming, is gonna go Orchid pretty early on.
Potentially. Depends where she lanes still. Like, we don't know what Aster's going to pick. They've got 15 seconds left. The thing is, in like Immortal and like top tier Immortal Dota, just in pubs, the hero that counters Lycan the most, like win rate percentage, is Drow. They're not going to go for it. They're going to go for another ranged hero, but it's still a good way to deal a lot of AoE damage and just kind of sit back and right click, right? Like it was the man. What is that new spell even called on the Drow? Like the multi shot, the
shot?
volley. Yeah, that'd be really good for just firing into all of these different Lycan units, and it means that you could probably just put the Phoenix, have the Supernova be used right on top of the Drow, so you need to make the choice as to which one you go for, and they've shown that they're not shy about picking something that they haven't played all that much, but the Gyrocopter feels a lot more like an SCCC type hero, and it fulfills a similar sort of criteria, so yeah, I'm liking that too.
So it ends up being offlane Void Spirit, 4 position Enigma, mid Viper, safe lane Gyro, 5 Phoenix. Whereas LGD, mid Quap, FY Nyx, X Nova Silencer, nothing purely out of the sorts with old 11 on the Beastmaster and rounding it up with Chalice on that Lycan.
So the first 3 picks on Aster are what we were predicting, with it being the 3 Void Spirit. I don't mind it all that much. I mean, you're not going to be able to, or at least you shouldn't, be able to get too many kills onto this Lycan, which you'll be going up against just due to the passive regen that he's able to have, and just more able to favorably trade in the lane, at least until you've got a couple of these items, and by that point, Lycan should be just trying to run onto your backlines and deal with the Phoenix or the Enigma before they're able to get off their big teamfight ultimates. So I'm liking the fact that LGD somehow managed to let the Beastmaster slip through until their last pick. It means that they're not able to get the same sort of counters with, an Enchantress or a Chen that just make his boar useless. So he's going to have an alright time in lane as well. So I would say I'm favoring LGD here, just because I feel like they've got the push, they've got the team fight, they've got the pick off, they've got some silences, which I'd say it's probably an underrepresented, what's the word? Category in Dota. Like silences feel like they're not quite as loved as some of these other things like stuns or disarms or that sort of thing.
It's a box that gets ticked the least, it feels like. And they've also gone Zoo meta for LGD, which seems to be the winning strategy. Almost always.
That's the big thing I hope that we do see changes about in the new patch, is that I feel like we've swung too far back in the other direction in terms of comeback mechanics. Like, I know for pro players for a while, they were like, man, it feels like even though we won the lane really hard, we just get punished from being able to have people come back and, win the game in that way. It's almost like you're rewarded for having a crappy laning stage. But I think maybe it's a bit too far in the other direction. Like, you shouldn't be able to give up a 10 kill streak for 500 gold. Like, that's not enough. It needs to be more than that if you're that far in the lead. Bkop, he tried to scout out where this observer ward was, and he should get it on the second go around, but that's a good waste of gold there by LGD by using that smoke, making sure they got to the radiant side of the river. And it should still get dewarded, but going to be a little bit more difficult there. And they get 3 of the bounty runes, so nice early goings for LGD. It's a Beastmaster mid as well, something we didn't quite see.
Yeah, this has been an Eternal Envy special in the BTS Americas that I've been seeing quite a bit. It puts Somnus in the offlane looking for a different matchup, and he'll be up against Bkop as well as SCCC, and I think there can be potentially a lot of harassment coming in from Somnus onto this Gyrocopter. You go heavy into the, either the Shadow Strike or the Scream, and it feels like Quap just does so much, and already a Shadow Strike and the Impale onto Bkop, so he's starting to feel the wear and tear already.
So he already got his, just some more tangos coming out for this bottom lane. So realizing you're going to be tanking up a lot of harass coming from Somnus here, and that's the way to combat it. You just try and win the regen battle. It's going to be hard, especially once that Shadow Strike starts to level up.
We'll see how this Gyro does. Not a hero we've seen too much of Not a hero I've seen be successful too much recently either. You can see FY really wants to get this courier, but he also wants the drag.
Can't always get what you want.
It's zoom meta, and it's also courier awareness meta. It feels as much that as the other, because couriers die a dime a dozen now.
Yeah. I'm liking this from us, Triple C, farming in a bit more relative safety, wanting to avoid the harass that's coming out from the Queen of Pain. Means that they can more easily deny up some of these creeps as well, which is always nice.
Bit of a different build here from Chuan on the Viper. Going into the Nether Toxin early instead of going into the corrosive skin in that third level. Or in that second level, really.
Yeah, I guess realizing that you're never going to be harassing all too much, so it shouldn't matter.
God, the damage on Old 11. He's got those 5 stacks, and you can really feel it on this Beastmaster. That is not a comfortable lane to be in up against Chuan, but it is very mana intensive to continue to harass like that. He does have a mango, and he looks like he's going to want a clarity a little bit later on, but how long can Old 11 sustain through this kind of harassment?
Nice positioning here from Old 11, making him choose, you know, what do you want to take care of? Do you want to lose your range creep, or do you want to go after my boar? Boar survives. Old 11 is off with that positioning. It means that it's going to be a lot of additional experience going the way of Qian.
Straight jungling for Fade, too.
I think it's fine. Like, FY's doing what he needs to. He's trying to soak up some of that experience coming through, but Fade's already got the better part of this trade. He's level 3 already, and FY hasn't even got the 1 point in the Spike Carapace. So, honestly, if he's making these rotations, it wouldn't be too bad to go into the mana burn just to try and disrupt the speed that Fade's going to be farming with.
Nova taking some harassment from XSS. He's still level 1. Wow. And he didn't even go into the glaives early into the Arcane Curse.
It's going to move close enough so he can at least level up, and here we go. Finally some harass starting to come out.
Yeah, right into that shield. Being very felt by XSS. But still gets to level 2. Chalice, for the most part, I could almost understand X-Nova leaving on the lane. Because, you know, Chalice is going to, of course, benefit from the extra experience, and I'm not certain that just XSS can kill him.
I think it's fine just to continually harass with these glaives. You know, it's going to make it rough for him to last hit, with Void Spirit being an int hero himself, but for now, X-Nova is just going to pull the wave, maybe try and contest these bounty runes for now, or might just be a case of trying to get a few more points into those levels so that the int steal lasts a little longer. So XSS, he's going to be happy with this, get its free refill onto his bottle. He's going to be able to stay in lane all that much longer, and means that you're going to stay pretty much equal to this Lycan in the form of the experience mark.
So nothing really doing just yet. Of course, we're still sitting at the 0-0. 1,000 net worth lead for Aster right now, and now they're going to go after this Gyro. FY as well as X-Nova both here. A lot of damage on Somnus, though. However, it looks as though they'll get the life of SCCC. Icarus dive across, Somnus burning low, but it doesn't look like he'll burn out. Instead, Bkop will lose his life as well.
Yeah, Somnus standing there trying to suck his gut in because that Icarus dive didn't hit him. It went all around him.
Jeez, he held his breath. Made sure not to get touched.
Yep. We've got a DD rune top, so unfortunately for Somnus, he's not going to have the time to go up and grab that one. Old 11, he'll happily get it for himself. And And, well, making a bit of a movement here onto Fade. Hasn't put the point into the Primal Roar just yet. Going up against that Viper, you don't really have the kill potential. Has to be careful about finding himself in a difficult position, though he's got that level 7 now, so might try and make something happen, but I think waiting until he's got that Helm of the Dominator coming out.
You would love that Helm of the Dom, and, double damage. Yeah, he's got it. Not really something he can do anything with at the moment. Maybe if he were to have had that Primal Roar immediately rotate towards bottom, there might have been opportunity to help out. Son is taking a lot of damage, burning quite low. He's got a full bottle to stay in this lane, though. So not the worst thing in the world. He's just about to hit that level 6, and I can certainly see LGD maybe looking to take over the map when you've got, the movement that's available from the Queen of Pain and Old 11 who can come from mid, and of course the shapeshift of Chalice to really back anyone up.
So yeah, it just feels like FY has been running around this map for a long time, but not getting too much in the form of trades. Normally we'd see him doing stuff like pulling waves. I know he did it once, but just doing it constantly, disrupting the equilibrium, getting some pickoffs through some early rotations. But Aster have positioned themselves quite well, making sure that they're able to get the better parts of these trades. And with an Enigma, you're always happy for that to happen, because you're always going to be able to farm faster. You can see he's sitting up in 4th on the net worth already on Fade right now, and he's rushed that Necro book as well, so he's going to be able to accelerate his farm even further.
Yeah, the Necro book's really good for the Enigma. That's, the build that we'll see from Old 11 if he does get a chance to have a game on this Enigma as well. I really find it just the perfect item to have here is over towards top. Old 11 not even using the Primal Roar to get that kill. Got 2 Centaurs, so they've got the lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Centaur's enough. X-Nova trying to make something happen here, but that vision means the Flak Cannon's going to bring him down. He was just trying to be a little cheeky and steal some of the experience that Fade has.
FY Sonic Wave. After they got the Impale from the Shrine area, or from the Outpost area, excuse me. But they lock it down, and I almost thought maybe they want to go for more, because SCCC, he got hit by that Sonic Wave and was very low.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I think it's okay though. At the end of the day, it's just creating more space for Chalice. They've still yet to use the Roar, so they can posture themselves a bit more aggressively around this top side. They're taking away a lot of the farm that Aster would be thinking could be secured for themselves. I mean, we've got the Eidolons and the Necrobook minions coming in here, and Fade, he's probably going to die.
I don't understand. Okay. Black Hole used, Black Hole gone. Exorcist and Zhuang come in with SCCC. Old 11's going to die here. But that was a lot expended for a Beastmaster. Black Hole was immediately stopped.
It is technically a mid Beastmaster, so it's okay. But yeah, the Black Hole stopped just by the use of that Primal Roar. The Fuz Rodar doing some pretty good work. And, well, I'm liking LGD positioning themselves here as well. You've got the Outpost available in 10 seconds. They should be able to disrupt it still. Quite in the position just yet to stop it. Oh, he does. Nice.
Just on the edge. That was an interesting play from Bobik. I've not seen that from a Phoenix. I know it's possible, but that is the first time I got a chance to see it.
No, it's good to be able to do it in quote-unquote safety, but yeah, LGD supports again just in the right place at the right time. Now that that top tier 1 tower no longer a factor, you just have Old 11 TPing down towards this bottom side of the map. Where's Chalice farming? Yeah, again, it's just setting themselves up in Aster territory and taking away a lot of the farm that you would be hoping to grab if you were this this Viper, this Gyrocopter. I mean, I suppose they're taking a relatively even trade by being able to grab this this top tier 1, but I mean, if I was Aster right now, I feel like you would be wanting to take a little more than they have thus far. You've got an Enigma, he's been farming up a fair amount, you've got this Necro book already completed. He's going into the mech next, so perhaps just wanting a little bit more teamfight sustain for themselves. As a Viper, that's always real handy to have. And You can see that's the style they're wanting to go, with the Blade Mail being the next thing queued up for
Radiant's
Chuyan.
bottom tower is under attack.
Chalice. Going Necro 3 next after he's got Helm of the Dom. So two, oh my god, two Helm of the Dominators. You've got Boars. You'll have Necro books for both Beastmaster as well as this Lycan. Oh my god, it really is the zoo meta.
Oh yeah.
Dire's top
We've got
tower is
a
under
Meteor Hammer coming up for FY. Not yet, but he's starting to purchase into it.
I was about to freak out.
Yeah.
I was like, he's got that already?
12 minutes? No. Not yet. I mean, like we were saying before, he did have a not fantastic laning stage. You know, he was level 3 for the first 8 or so minutes of the game. But yeah, just those couple of kills really making things go a bit more in his favor.
I think the slow pacing right now is really good for LGD. It really allows Chalice to just kind of farm up this Necro book as well as the Beastmaster. I wonder if Old 11 will go Necro 3 as well. Not sure it's entirely necessary.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think he can just focus a little bit more on, again, the sustain that Enigma is doing for Aster. As a mid laner, you don't want that to be your entire kit, but I think you've got plenty of damage when you've got a Queen of Pain as well as a Lycan on your team, so you don't really need to worry about that all too much.
Enigma,
Yeah, again, just taking farm away from SCCC. You know, you want to try and position yourself around these Ancients just because that's one of the key places for you to farm, but you can just see he's kind of questioning himself a little bit.
yeah, Fade getting chased down. He got spotted by these wolves, and then the Centaur came in, and all of a sudden, smoke's broken, and Somnus, he looks like he wants to, yeah, there's the aggressive blink. There it is. Supernova's down. They're going to try and retreat. Now this becomes a problem with SCCC behind them, but the damage he took from taking out the Necro Creeps, he's just gone. Whoa. I don't know if he was expecting to die that quickly.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, that's one of the big dangers, not even needing to pop the Primal Roar for that either. So Old 11, he's still got that in his kit. And, well, I suppose you've got the Black Hole available for Fade, but it feels like his influence is starting to drop off a little bit. He was sitting up in 4th on net worth at one point.
Black Hole, but there's the Global Silence. It's so hard for him to have a good Black Hole in this game, especially when they were able to hold the Global. They're looking to go back in. FY, he was attempting to get to the high ground, but behind him is XSS, Spike Carapace, that stuns up XSS for a moment. They've got the rest
Sonic
of
Wave's
LGD
available.
coming in, and now they've also have the Queen of Pain going behind them with the help of Chalice. So they kill off Chuan, they go forward for X-Nova. They haven't killed anybody just yet. The Aether Remnant's there, so they'll at least get X-Nova, but he's already used the Global Silence to stop the Black Hole. He's happy with what he's produced. Primal Roar out, Sonic Wave in, SCCC drops FY behind enemy lines with a good impale out on a Bobica, who doesn't have an Icarus dive and won't be able to make his way out of this one, as well as Fade, who ends up dead. Triple kill there for Somnus, and a tier 1 to boot.
Yeah, and look at all these units just standing around. There's too much. It's overwhelming for Aster at this point, and with a Viper, you don't have control over a lot of this damage that's coming out. Same thing with the Gyrocopter, so you do end up just straight killing yourself because of the Necrobook units. You're looking for more? I mean, they've just respawned, I suppose, so you might have the better part of this trade, but just denying up to the bounty rune even with the wolves there on the Lycan.
And this is starting to feel as if LGD are choking out the map, and it will be the Necro 3 for Old 11. I wonder if he goes Necro 3 first. I think he's saving for the Blink Dagger. I would prefer he do that. Just, you know, you want that positioning. You want to be able to get in there, have the right Primal Roar, not be so reliant on having to have the right positioning.
Yeah, I think if that fight didn't go so overwhelmingly well for them, maybe he would have gone for the, you know, a bit more of the gradual build-up, but considering he's only like 200 gold away, he's like, you know what, let's just get it for now. And again, later on, it's just going to be that unavoidable damage that they're going to try and exploit. 2 Necro 3 units means that, well, you can't really contest too much of this push, even though you might want to. And just the timings as well, right? We've got Somnus, who was a little bit underleveled coming out of that laning stage, but when you can get a triple kill in that, you're nearly up to level 12 yourself, despite staying in the off lane. You can just start to pressure forward. SCCC only hitting up onto level 10 himself just recently in FY. He's going to get revealed.
Nova in some trouble. Arcane Curse comes in, homie missile on the FY, but he's got the Spike Carapace, so that'll stop SCCC in his tracks. Necro 3 picked up for the Lycan. He's not near this fight. And
That's fine. I don't think he needs to be. The buyback was used previously by X-Nova just to be able to have that presence in the team fight, so he was dead for 55 seconds, so I don't think Chalice needs to be around just yet. Wave just pushing in on its own. I mean, they're going to have to make a choice as to what they defend, and as soon as you see any sort of TP go up towards this top side, that's when LGD know that they can just TP someone down towards the bottom side of the map and take an easy teamfight victory. That's why SEC is forced to just walk his way up towards this top side. Here we go, though.
Over bottom, they get the kill on the old 11. Supernova out and pops, but nobody else there. And to get that, I think is very well worth it, especially not using Black Hole.
Yeah, that's a big victory for them. Now, you don't have that constant pressure coming through with the Necro units, you don't have the Boars, you don't have the Helm of the Dominator. It means that Chalice stays on this top side of the map, which he probably doesn't want to right now. Like, you never want to be farming in super safe areas if you're in front. You always want to be pressuring and taking full advantage of the net worth lead that you've been able to get early on. Man, Essence Ring will be a nice pickup for Somnus. He's got that flying out to him now, as well as his BKB, I believe.
So I don't know if it was with you or with Jenkins that I joked about this, but you've got Necro 3 on Lycan. Hold on. Shapeshift.
Teamfight.
Going bottom, and Impale comes through as well as the Global Silence. They'll get the kill on XSS very quickly, but they've also got the Centaur stun on a Juan. So he's trying to man-fight this, but there's nowhere for him to go before he ends up dead. Dominating for Somnus, 2 kills there for LGD. And right on out they are easily. So what I was getting at is they're going for 2 Necro 3s. And Gyro's going for the Axe. Get another Necro 3 on Queen of Pain and just run the Necro 3s around the Gyro. Make sure he can't use Flak Cannon, and make sure he's hurting himself potentially with the Axe.
I feel like they've got enough of that already, right? Like, with the Queen of Pain, I think the Blick Dagger is the perfect item to go based off how the early game's gone, right? Because what does a Gyro have as the items? He's got a BKB, so he just wants to be able to stand, use his Flak Cannon, and fight, and avoid a lot of this damage that's going to be coming through from the Quap. She can still use the Sonic Wave, and she's got a BKB herself, so you're not going to take all that much damage from the Gyro for a good amount of time until he at least gets his next key item, which is going to be that Axe.
They're going after Chalice, and they've got him. Supernova used again. They have everybody around here. They still don't use Black Hole, but there's the Primal Roar. The damage coming through. The Blade Mail may not be enough. But the Viper Strike used on Old 11. Fade coming in with the Black Hole. They have no way to stop this. Even with the BKB, Somnus in a bit of trouble, but he's able to blink away afterwards. TPs and escapes. FY is right here, potentially looking for something. But the rest of the team getting out of here, so he'll just sap some experience.
I mean, taking advantage of some poor positioning from both teams, to be honest. The Lycan, of course, just... Oh, is he going to try and get some combos there onto the Gyro?
He's got the Meteor Hammer.
That ancient creep, yeah. It's hard to say who that teamfight actually benefits, right? Like, you had to use a couple of key teamfight ultimates, so they know, again, you don't have the Black Hole available for the next good amount of time. 70 seconds away from this Sonic Wave, you're going to have the Arcane Rune as well available on Somnus. So I think right now is the time just to secure the remaining outer towers, and, or I was about to say to allow you to go for Roche, but they're like, you know what, forget the towers, let's just Roche it straight away. You can see why, with a lot of this minus armor that you're able to pop onto the Roshan and just pure strength of numbers.
Fallen to the dark.
Giving it over to Somnus, actually. So he's nearly hit up onto his level 15. Should opt to go for the cooldown reduction for himself. And, well, you'd have to say that the mid tier 2 tower is the next objective that they're looking to claim.
Yeah, they've started to have everything go their way and come in a position for them. They have been playing across the river quite a bit. LGD posture take these outer towers and really put the pedal to the metal. They've got Chalice pushing in top. Necro 3 Dominator almost has the BKB. He could put pressure on there while the rest of the team looks over towards mid.
Even XXS up on this top side is not going to be enough to be able to push them back. Even if they choose to glyph, they're not going to be able to get real value out of it. This tower's gone regardless. Maybe wanting to hold on to it for that mid tier 2 tower, but I feel like as much as it might suck, you got to just abandon it. You got to wait until they push up onto the high ground, maybe overextend a little bit, use a bit of that high ground vision to your advantage with this black hole. And FY, speaking of black holes, he's found out Fade. He doesn't have any sort of detection thus far, and he should just get burst.
No Meteor Hammer, not that it's going to be needed. He'll pop the Guardian Greaves and Fade. He ends up losing his life to a 8-1 and 3 Somnus. Really outputting quite a bit here with the Queen of Pain. And it's helped Chalice just continue to up his stake in top of the net worth.
Radiant's courier has been killed. Radiant's middle tower.
Bot
is
lane
under
just
attack.
pushing in on its own. Enigma's dead for another 10 seconds. Right now, what LGG just need to be careful for is that, again, the overextension. Can't have Lycan be caught out on his own one more time. I suppose this time around they will have the global silence available, and maybe they'll just want to play a little bit closer to each other so that even if you do have that pure right click during the global silence, you've got the capability to turn around with the rest of your team. But, it's looking rough, that's for sure. And finally, Somnus, still wanting that teamfight presence. He's going into the Orchid for himself at the 24-minute mark. He should have it finished up very shortly.
On top of which, Beastmaster switches over to the BKB. Not too surprised there. I'm fine with that call. Primal Roar comes in. BKB's been popped, but you look at the damage coming out already. SCCC on the run, and all he can do is run. Sunray on to Somnus, but an easy blink out. Primal Roar gets used, but that is, in fact, your 10-second BKB being used very defensively.
Yeah, just missing out on that kill as well. Had the Sonic Wave available, which probably would have cleaned up. I was thinking, oh, is he going to go for a super aggressive blink into the base just to kill this Gyro? And they didn't have buyback at the time, so it's a scary time right now for Aster. They're just pushing out all waves. You've got some decent vision through these observer wards, and FY again, he's just going to break this.
So Impale hits onto the Viper. They're going to turn their attention over to the Gyrocopter, who they know doesn't have BKB. So they've easily killed SCCC. Bkop drops as well. Chuan now on the run from Somnus. Pops the Blade Mail, but Somnus is here with X-Nova and doesn't quite care. He's got the Aegis. He'll tick himself down really low with no fear of really giving up too much. And they get 4 kills there. LGD come out without a scratch.
It's getting dangerously close to that GG call. I mean, they realize that they've got probably one more team fight in them if they don't lose it horribly. 50 seconds until that shapeshift's available once more, and you could tell that Fade was like, well, I can get a decent black hole off here, but when you've already lost a couple of heroes to start the fight, it's just not worth it. Even now, this glyph kind of feels like it would be better used in the middle of a team fight, perhaps when LGD have overcommitted, but man, look at these towers melt.
And they're going to continue to melt. Fade. I don't even know what you do. Sonic Wave comes in, pushes them back. They get the kill on a Bkop. BKB's been popped by Somnus. And, well, your racks are gone.
Yeah. I mean, playing as this quote-unquote position 2, where he played in the off lane, it's not all about just getting the kills. Like, the fact that he was able to secure the kill onto the Phoenix is a luxury there. You know, oh. Is he going to be able to catch out? No, it doesn't have any way to interrupt this Void Spirit TPing back. Will they be able to get something out of this?
Spike Carapace, it stuns up Fade once again, but FY even hit with the Malefice is okay. Goes into
Yeah.
Vendetta.
But yeah, I mean, with Somnus, he had the Aegis, so he doesn't mind dying. He pops his BKB, and he just blinks aggressively. He knows that there's no way they're going to be able to kill him twice, and even if they do, that was a full lane of racks that he just created time for his team to get. So he's still playing kind of that 3-role space creator, but with all of this net worth that you're able to secure kills for yourself too, Trion, he's in a rough spot.
Yeah, so is Fade. He dies before the Meteor Hammer even slaps down, and again, it feels like this is going to be the final fight as they lose 2, and moving forward is Old 11. He's got the Primal Roar and SCCC with the rest of the team right behind him. They'll get another kill on the Gyrocopter, who he doesn't have buyback for 50 seconds. Supernova, and yeah, it's so far back it feels like, yeah, the GG was soon to follow, and it does. So, LGD clean game 1, and they will secure the victory.
Positioning just not quite on point, you know, even there with 2 heroes going down and the fact that the Gyrocopter was still in a poor position to get gone on afterwards just means that perhaps there's not one solid voice that's coming through. There's a lot of indecision coming through from Aster, and LGD taking advantage of that, because against a Lycan draft, you need to be all in on something. You know, you can't go in with half efforts. I think we only saw like 2, maybe 3 black holes come out that game. One of them instantly cancelled with the roar. Another one, global silence used immediately afterwards. And I think maybe a third one was used, but it was for a support kill. So not really worth it at all. And conversely, Shapeshift is basically being used off cooldown. Used to pick off a lot of the squishier supports early on. And then when those items came up, it was just even a Viper just melts to it. So decisive victory for LGD, and I mean, if that continues, it'll be a 2-0 and Aster being knocked out.
And they're now 1 game away from potentially being knocked out here, and a very good job from LGD start to finish. Don't think Aster can draft around a Zoo lineup. You need to just draft very differently. I don't think you can give up this kind of draft to any team at the moment. I mean, it's called the Zoo meta for a reason. Giving up Lycan Beastmaster is definitely one of those things that's going to be very hard to play against. It's not where you want to be, and certainly not what you want to be up against. So, LGD, they take game 1. We'll be back with game 2 in just a moment. Stay right there. We'll be right back.